Hi there. Today we are going to go through some introductory statistics. We're going to talk a little bit about measures of center and variation. We'll also in this unit discuss position, different shapes and centers and spreads of context of data sets. We're also going to talk about outliers. So lots of great information that we're going to get to in this statistics unit. I'd like to start with looking at some of the most basic statistics that we have and also their value and how they tell us a lot of information about a data set. And those are going to come in the form of the measures of center of a data set and variation. Measures of center, this is pretty common for a lot of students. They've seen this before. We're talking about mean, median, and mode. We're looking at where is the middle of my data set, what values are around the center. And the second thing that we'll look at today is the variation of a data set. And that tells us about how spread out it is. Are those values all really close together? Or are they really far apart? That's something that a measure of center doesn't really tell us. We know where the middle is, but we don't know how far apart everything is. Variation allows us to see that. So those are the four pieces that we're going to look at today. So we're going to go through some notes together, and I created a PDF of these notes or a Google Doc of these notes. So if you have not yet created a copy of this Google Doc, Statistics Introduction Notes and Practice, there's a link on the Canvas page for you to do that. So you should go back and make sure that you have those notes. We're going to go through these questions together, and then the last couple will be for your practice, okay? So pause the video here, go grab that worksheet, and then come back and we will get started. Okay, assuming everybody has that worksheet then, we're going to go ahead and go through the definitions of those terms at the top. So we need to review these concepts to make sure that we understand what each piece of information is asking for us. So I talked about what we're going to look for in terms of the mean, median, and mode being measures of the center of a data set, and then the range being the measure of variation, how spread out it is. Now, to find the range, we're going to need to know about the maximum and the minimum. So those two terms have also been included here. So let's read these definitions, see if we can figure these out. The middle value of a data set. So this is just the straight middle, what values in the middle, that is the median. The median is the middle of a data set. The difference between the greatest and the least values in a data set, that would be the range, telling us how far apart the highest and the lowest values are. That's the range. In order to be able to calculate the range, we need to know, what do we call the greatest value in a data set? That would be a maximum. And I'm going to skip down here to number 5 because number 5 I see is the least value in a data set. And so if the maximum is the greatest, the least will be the minimum. All right, number 4, the sum of all the values in a data set divided by the total number of values in a set. So I don't know if you guys have heard, add them all up and divide by the number of numbers, right? That's kind of how we usually say that. Some people call that the average, which is another term that you could use. But when we talk about statistics, we call that the mean. So mean is just another word for average. And lastly, the value or values that appear most often in a data set, that is called the mode of your data set. So here we have mean, median, mode, and range. Again, mode being what appears most often. So let's go through, we're going to calculate, we're going to talk about how we calculate each of these pieces, and then we will do an example together so you can try some on your own. All right, so to find the median, important step here is number 1, we got to put these values in order from least to greatest. You have to put the values in order. Otherwise, it's not going to give you the true median. You can't just use them in any order. So put the values in order from least to greatest, or smallest to largest, however you want to think of that. Okay? Smallest to largest, least to greatest. And then once you have them in order, just find the one that's in the middle of the set. So sometimes what happens, if you have an odd number of values in your data set, you'll have one number in the middle by itself. But sometimes if you have an even number, you'll have two values in the middle. So you need to find the number that's in between those two. So if there are two middle values, we will add them together and then divide by 2. So that's how we'll find the median if there's 2 in the middle. We'll add them together and then divide by 2. And we'll do an example of that together on the next slide. So to find the median, put the values in order from smallest to largest. Super important step. I highlighted it. Super important. Then you can find the middle value, the one that's exactly in the middle with the same number of values on either side. Okay. And then if there are 2 in the middle, which happens when we have an even number of data points, we add the 2 in the middle and divide by 2. That's to find the median. Okay, the median. To find the mean, we're going to add up all the numbers, right? Add up all the values in your data set. And then if you recall, we said we divide by the number of numbers. So we'll divide by the number of values in the set. So if there are 15 numbers in your data set, you would add up all 15 and then divide by 15. That's to find the mean. All right, to find the range, we're going to, again, put the values in order from smallest to largest. Super important, guys. Has to be in order from smallest to largest to find the range. Okay, smallest to largest. So now we know that the range is going to be the difference between the two. So we want to find the maximum and the minimum, which will just be our two outside numbers, right? If you put them in order from smallest to largest, your smallest number will be your minimum and your largest number will be your max. So find your max and min and then subtract. So you always subtract maximum minus minimum. Big number comes first, right? Maximum minus minimum value. There you go. That's to find the range. So let's walk through an example of each of these so that we can make sure that we know. We'll also find the mode while we're on this slide. So we're going to find the mean, the median, the mode, the max and the min, and the range for each set of data. So this is problem number 7 on that worksheet, and then you guys are going to do 8 and 9 on your own for practice. So the first step to a lot of these is finding the order from smallest to largest. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to put them in order from smallest to largest. Oops, what did I do? I went backwards. I don't know why. So we're going to put those in order from smallest to largest. So my smallest value is 92. And then I have a 97, 98, 99, 99 again, and 100. I always encourage students to count the number of numbers and make sure you have the same number in your list. It's an easy way to verify you didn't miss anything. So if I have 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers, I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers in my own data set. All right, so to find the mean, you need to flip back, but the mean is where we add them all up and divide by the number of numbers. So there are 6 numbers in my data set. So I'm going to take the sum of those 6 numbers, and then I'm going to divide it by 6. The sum of those numbers divided by how many I added together. So grab a handy dandy calculator. It's going to be useful. But that sum is 585, and when I divide 585 by 6, I get 97.5. All right, so there's my mean. My mean is 97.5. The median asks us to find the middle. So I actually usually go through and cross off the values in my data set as I use them. Let me grab a cross off it tool. So I'm gonna say, okay, I'm finding the median, so I wanna find what's in the middle. So I'm gonna cross off one on each side, another one on each side, until I just have 1 or 2 numbers there in the middle. Now there are 6 values in this set, so that means that there is an even number. So these 2 together are what's gonna make my median. So when there are 2 values in the middle, I want to go ahead and I want to add those two values and divide by 2. That's what our directions say. Add and divide by 2. When I do that, I get 98.5. Finding what's in the middle of those two middles, if that makes sense. The middle of the middles. So again, crossing off 1 on either side until we get just 1 or 2 in the middle. If it's 1 in the middle, then that's your median and you're done. If there's 2 left over in the middle, then you have to add and divide by 2. All right, fantastic. Last one here on this column, we're going to find the mode. So the mode requires us to find the one that appears the most often. So most often, that means that I have to look to see if there are any repeats. So when I'm looking for the mode, I'm looking to see if anything appears more than once. So 92, 97, 98, those all appear just one time, but 99 here, 99 appears twice. And since there's no other number that appears more than twice, then we can say that 99 is our mode. We're looking for what appears the most. Now we've already put our values in order, so this makes it easy to identify our minimum is our smallest value, and our maximum is our largest. So minimum is 92, max is 100. And then to calculate the range, we always subtract the larger from minus the smaller. So 100 minus 92, or 8, for our range. So we have found the mean, the median, the mode, the min, the max, and the range for this data set of these 6 values here. So take a minute, make sure you have those copied down correctly. And then I'd like you guys to try number 8 and number 9 on your own as your practice and submit it for feedback. Okay, you guys got this. I'm super excited for you, and I hope that this video gave you a nice starting point for those to practice. Keep it up, guys.